It is officially Black History Month, so here are 7 books off my bookshelf that I think you should read by Black authors. The first one is a book that I hold very near and dear to my heart. This is probably my favorite book of all time. If you know me, you know that I've talked about this book way too many times. It's probably embarrassing the way I stand for Kennedy Ryan. But listen, before I let go, this book, I just read this book. The second book of the series actually comes out in March. I already pre-ordered it. It's being delivered on the day of release. I'm so excited. But this book is about 2 entrepreneurs who got divorced, and it's a second chance romance. It's so good. It talks about mental health and, you know, Black men going to therapy, their sisterhood and friendship. It touches on the dynamic between mother and daughter. I mean, there's just so many good dynamics and topics in this book. It talks about child loss. Obviously, read the trigger warnings, but listen, this book is so beautiful, so powerful, so heartbreaking, and I love it. This is my favorite book. So next is Playing a New Game, a Black woman's guide to being well and thriving in the workplace. So this is on my list for this month. This talks all about the effects of that internalized message that we have growing up, where, you know, I'm sure you've been told before you have to work twice as hard to get just as much. This book talks about the mental and physical effects that has on Black women in the workplace. So next on the list is Metamorphosis, a journey to holistic wellness. So this book is by Chris James. He is the founder of A Healthy Alternative. This talks about the benefits of fasting, how to fast, and all that good stuff. So this is a really good one. He has the videos on YouTube that talks about this as well. But definitely check this out if you're looking to just transform your mind and your body through fasting. Next is going to be The Perfect Day to Boss Up, a hustler's guide to building your empire. So this book, I actually enjoyed this book because it was kind of funny because it reads in Rick Ross's voice. If you like listen to the audio and read the book at the same time, it reads in his voice, and it's a very short, easy read, but it's just a motivational book, and it talks a lot about different stories in his business ventures, so I actually really enjoyed this. Next is Successful Women Think Differently by Valerie Burton. So this is actually a book that I randomly saw when I was shopping at Kroger one day, and I saw her on it, so of course I picked it up. And it's 9 habits to make you happy, healthier, and more resilient. So this is really about tapping into your potential as a successful woman. The Hate You Give. Now, this is a book that I actually read, I think I was in high school or college, I can't remember. But this talks about police brutality. There's a movie that's made about this as well. It's a fictional book, but it does touch on those topics. It talks about racism. It's a very powerful story, very captivating story. It's really good. So I highly recommend, if you are into fiction, to pick this up. We have I Am Deborah Lee. Okay, so Deborah Lee is the former CEO of BET, and BET was the first Black company to be traded publicly, right? And so this talks about the good and the bad parts about being a Black woman and just a woman in general in the entertainment industry. So I hate that they put these little stickers on here. Anyway, but yes, this book is very interesting. It talks a lot of like behind the scenes stuff with the entertainment industry. Some of our favorite shows like The Game. I used to love The Game. But it talks about the hardships and the good parts, but definitely a lot of hardships that she has gone through in this industry. And I know I said 7 books, but I totally forgot about these 2, so I have to add them. So this one is 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. I just got finished reading this book a few days ago, and I loved it. It was a slow burn in the beginning. Yes, I read a few chapters and had to put it down for a few months. I finally picked it back up, and I'm so glad that I did. Okay, this is about 2 people who they had a week together when they were teenagers, a crazy week. This book is filled with some trauma, so definitely check the trigger warnings. But they had a crazy week together, and then they never saw each other again until like 15 years later. And so this book is mainly talking about what happens at that 15-year later point. But this is good. This is heartbreaking. Oh my gosh, I definitely cried at the end. I wish that there was more to this book. I wish there was like a part 2 because I need more. Shane and Ava definitely had me in a chokehold for the last few weeks. And then we have the Gilded Ones. So this one is a fantasy. It is a West African folklore / fantasy. And this book is on my list for this month. I have not read it yet. But I'm not a big fantasy reader, but when I saw this in the store, I was like, okay, I gotta tap in and see what's going on. But I heard very, very good things about this book. So yes, check this out. So let me know if you're gonna add any of these books to your TBR list.